Hello, what's up, everyone? One of these days, we're just going to have to come in live with our basses, and we'll both go slap style on that thing.
Yeah.
And do our own little version of the music.
I think we should have a whole DT band that does this. We've talked about it before. Yeah. We need like an acapella,
acapella intro.
I want Drew on the spoons, right? Just sort of doing that spoon jive, or maybe one of the washboards,
like a tech barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
No, but using only computer parts for the instruments.
There you go.
Yeah.
He'll be
clearly we've worked this out.
Graphics cards together.
At some point in the past, we did that whole hello.
We did at one point.
Great, and it wasn't even that bad.
No, it was pretty good. All right, well,
it wasn't even that bad.
Well, we didn't have
it wasn't great.
We didn't have an anchor note to be in tune or anything. We just sort of did, and it turned out okay.
Come for the podcast day for the Trends with Benefits band right after this performing. All right, hello everyone. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly Roundtable Tech podcast here at Digital Trends, where we talk about the tech topics of the day and everything that you want to discuss. So we are a podcast available wherever you get podcasts. But today, just for you, we are broadcasting live not only on Facebook, not only YouTube, but also Periscope and Twitch. So we are broadcasting live on all of those right now. I will try to monitor comments as they come through, but we do want to hear your comments and your questions and everything that you've got as we go through this today. So we've got a lot to get to, including we're going to be talking about some awesome things called virtual wearables, which I want this immediately. Minority Report is now reality. In India, they are going to start trying to predict crime. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have a discussion on blockchain and what that is and everything associated with this. But to start off, we want to talk about just streaming cable and cord cutting and where you're at with that and what your thoughts are on that. So I believe the question that we put up was, let's see, have you quit cable? And if not, why not? And I think for a lot of people, what the announcement today from ESPN Plus that their service is going live may be a deciding factor. I know for me it has been as far as why I've kept cable. It's largely because of sports, but we want to see what you think about it. And maybe a lot of you have already cut it and you have your reasons why. So tell us those. Let's introduce.
Let's introduce them.
All right.
Sorry, the snipping
Drew and I are
noise.
introducing right now.
The snipping noise threw me off in the background. We'll just leave that quiet snip that's going to be on the podcast. I'm Greg Nibbler. To my right, we have
Marie Pardo-Garber.
Hello, Marie.
Hey, one of the IT people here.
And
I'm Drew Prindle, the emerging technologies editor.
The Whiskey Mist.
The Whiskey Mist. I knew we had to get to that.
Really, you guys are going to have to excuse me. I got to go get something to drink because all I have to drink right now is this big bowl of chicken flavor noodles, and I don't see that really quenching my thirst. So I'm going to go get a drink really quick.
That is doing us all a favor, not to be slurping the noodles into the microphone. It's a very professional outfit that we have here. Oh, somebody already gave us a name. We're the Tech Boys, and one girl.
Hey.
So they did
featuring News Muckle.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's Caleb Dennison, everybody. You can direct your emails to him. All right, so let's talk about this, though, with ESPN Plus. And I'll be honest, I still have cable. I'm one of the people who has not cut the cord yet. And it's mainly because I do like watching live sports. And the more I think about it, a lot of times I'll go out and watch them anyway. But I've got it just for the principle that I can watch it every now and then, which seems ridiculous saying out loud because of how much I pay for that, and I really don't even utilize it, but yet I've been unable to do it. And I still have a lot of the streaming services as well. So that's what I want to know is where people are at. And I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in here. Let's see. We use a few streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, and utilize our Prime membership too. So that's what Kenda's saying. So yeah, it seems like a lot of people have cut it. Paul says, because I want live TV at the time it's first presented, not recorded from a previous time and played later. And I think that has a lot to do with, especially with sports. Sports and news events. News, I get a lot of that just from Twitter if you really want to get up-to-the-minute news as far as what's going on. But if something's, breaking. But sports, there's nothing like watching it live. And that's what with this ESPN Plus service that was announced. I know there's some specific things on there. It's not a full package. Is that right, Caleb?
Well, that was kind of the disappointment, was that it's not just the ESPN channel that you tune into on cable. It's kind of a curated set of content. You can there's a lot of tennis stuff on there. Why do I lead with tennis?
Right, tennis. Are you
no
a tennis
to
fan?
our tennis
Say
fans,
no
but,
more.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
Tennis, volleyball, whatever. Now, they're going to have basketball and baseball and other stuff on there, but you're not going to go there to get Sports Center necessarily.
Right.
And there's some few other restrictions. It's not ESPN streamed online, independent. It's not like HBO. You can get the full-on live and on-demand HBO, Showtime, Cinemax Stars, ePix. You can get all that stuff independently. You know, you can just choose to add that to your Sling TV or your PlayStation Vue or even Hulu. Like you can add Showtime to Hulu and put that stuff all in one place. But this didn't turn out to be the streaming sports, you know, gangbuster that we all hoped for, because we know ESPN is like the most popular cable channel. It makes cable companies the most amount of money carrying that. It's the most expensive one for the cable companies to offer. So obviously ESPN's super popular. So when you hear that ESPN's coming out on a streaming service, you really hope that it's going to be just full-fledged live ESPN, just like if you
get the whole
tuned in on your
sports.
Comcast cable box or Dish Network or DirecTV, whatever you got. It's not that. But with that said, I think a lot of people don't know that there is tons and tons of streaming sports available just through, like for the guy who said, I want to see live TV when it happens, not pre-recorded and watch later. Well, you don't have to. You can subscribe to Sling TV and get all the live TV that you want.
Yeah.
And PlayStation Vue offers the same thing. It's a lot. PlayStation Vue in particular is a lot like the cable that you're used to, but it's just streamed online. I was actually, and I want to ask this question as we go through this topic, how many people are scared to cut the cord because their internet service provider either has a bandwidth cap or a data cap or has restricted bandwidth? Like in your area, it's really hard to get 10 megabits per second or better, and maybe they have a really restrictive bandwidth cap. I know that out on the coast, on the fringes of the U.S., we are blessed with really great internet, and our data caps are something like 2 terabytes a month or whatever.
Right.
Like we're not going
you're never
anywhere.
going to get
Even
that,
if it's 1 terabyte a month, you've got plenty. But I want to know, you know, for the people who are in the heartland, you know, where and in rural areas where there just isn't really good, strong internet, the speeds are bad. For them, it's not really feasible to do streaming TV, and you know, maybe they're on satellite internet, and you do not want to try to be streaming anything on satellite internet.
And that's exactly it. And you're right. There is a lot of the country, like my parents, you know, they live maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours south of here. There is no cable run out to rural Oregon. So they have to have satellite. So streaming is not an option.
Yeah,
like
and
you can't do it.
That's just part of the deal. But for those of us who are, like, I think one of the reasons that maybe people haven't been so quick to cut the cord and go with these streaming services is because it hasn't been the a la carte buffet OTV that we had hoped for. You look at Sling TV, and you start at $20 a month, and you get a pretty nice selection of cable channels with that. And there's some savings that can definitely be happening there, but it's not like I just want CNN, Showtime, HBO, you know, and maybe HDTV and Discovery, and that's all I want. And I just want you to charge me like $3 or $4 per channel, and that's it. You know, that doesn't exist. And so streaming TV has started to look a lot like cable, and we see more of that with the bundle style deal that we're starting to see today. Also, Hulu and Spotify announced a bundle deal, which is kind of a weird pairing. It's like streaming music with, you know, streaming TV. Is that something you guys are interested in?
I mean, sort of. I don't know. Like, if it's cheaper than paying for both of them at the same time, I mean, why not? I mean, you are going to have, like, most people I feel like have some sort of video streaming service and a music streaming service. Like, I think it's pretty smart that they joined the two finally. We're probably going to see a lot more of that moving forward.
People like saving money.
I mean, it's an interesting pairing, but looking at the bundle, it's set bundle. You can't pick and choose. You still have ads that you have to go through. You still have all the other stuff that just comes with basic Hulu subscription. So if you're already paying for Hulu and Spotify together, then it's a plus. But for people like, I don't have Hulu, for instance, and so it's not that great of an incentive to me to sign up for both.
I mean,
that's not going to push you over the edge to be like, okay, now I need to get it.
I get having Hulu and then adding Showtime on top of that. If you know you're really into Homeland is a really popular show.
Right. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah. But you know, pairing up the Spotify and Hulu thing, I guess I just didn't see that coming. That didn't occur to me that might be something people want.
Well, I think there's a couple of things here that we should get to and talk about, at least associated with that, with the bundle side of it, and then cable in general. Just to comment on a couple of things that people put in. Tommy says logging in and out of different apps is a pain. Cable will always exist for the ease of use of being able to change channels with a program guide to see what's on each channel. I mean, I can see your point in that, but I think for a lot of people, they like that you would rather have an on-demand thing where you can just, I mean, Netflix is pretty easy to search through. Hulu's pretty easy to search through, although you do have to go to each different app. So I can kind of see where you're going.
Unless you have like a Roku.
Unless
you can
Roku,
use, like,
yeah.
universal search. That's
Right.
on a lot of different things now.
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend, is just now getting used to the whole Roku thing and wasn't sure where to go to watch this or that or the other. And I was like,
Right.
you can just hit the microphone or the little search icon on here and put in what you want to watch, and it'll take you there. It'll tell you if it's free. It'll
Right.
tell you if there's a little fee involved. Like, that helps you find it. And plus, I mean, if you're logging into and out of apps all the time, then you're doing it wrong because
Right.
Or something's wrong with
100%.
your thing, because once you sign in, you're signed in, and that's how it is. It's just kind of like you go to Netflix instead of going to CNN or
Yeah.
whatever. They're arranged like channels with a lot of these different services.
Well, talking about the bundles and with the Spotify Hulu announcement, what is it, $13.99? I'm sorry, I don't have the price right in front of me,
so.
but it was something along those lines, and I'll pull it up exactly what it was. But bundling them together, that idea I think is an interesting concept of working back towards these bundles, because I just saw Edward commented saying I want an HBO Netflix bundle,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that, and for me I have Netflix, HBO, Prime, and Hulu from a friend. So I mean I've got them all, but yeah, if I could pay like one service, and then again, are we going back to what a cable company was?
Well, we're not going to go not so much.
Say it's $30 a month, and you get all four of them, and I mean, I don't know what the math works out right as far as what the prices are for service, but it's probably pretty similar. If you just paid one lump sum and you got those.
Well, it's tough because like Netflix and Amazon are in their own little world right now. They're not tied. See, the thing about Hulu is that it's owned by NBC Universal and all these other big Viacom. These big companies have a stake in all of that, so they're cool with partnering with each other.
Sure,
but you don't tend to see a Netflix partnering with HBO because they're actually very much in competition with each other.
Well, for Spotify, it's an interesting move on their side.
Well, that's music, though, right? I mean,
it's like a wholly separate thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, to
kind of
team up with Hulu on
and it's kind of hot news because they just went public and they've been bleeding money. I mean, like millions upon millions of dollars of losses every year. They've never turned anything close to breaking even, let alone a profit. This business model is not sustainable. They've got to figure out something to get more people to pay for their service, because like Marie was just saying, there's a free version, and if you're willing to put up with the ads, just like you've been putting up with ads on TV and radio all this time, then you get this stuff for free. Why would you pay for it? A lot of people look at it that way.
My guess is there's going to be some kind of original content that's coming out on Spotify. I think that's the way that they're going to have to go, and teaming up with Hulu may be a stepping stone to, I mean, everybody's doing original video streaming content. Why would Spotify not possibly move in that direction?
Yeah,
something to lure people and have a musician show like Apple Music is trying to do.
Well, Spotify's already turned out some original content on the video side of things.
Did they have something already?
Spotify sessions for a lot of artists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like specific recordings that they did for Spotify on Spotify only.
I would think that's the only way for growth.
But the fact that you didn't know about that is reflective of what is really going on.
And I have a
Most people
Spotify
don't know.
subscription.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to this stuff. I didn't even know they had that. Yeah. I wasn't even aware. So
there's too many things all the time.
There's too many things. There's a lot of
much.
things. But seeing here, in the chat, I know we need to get to our other topics too, but I think it's just an interesting discussion of where this is all going to go. When's it going to stop? Because everybody's got their streaming apps that are coming out. Disney's got theirs. ESPN is, obviously launching in this. If they can start a la carte, like picking, okay, I want Northwest schools since I live in the Northwest. I want to watch the college games from that. Then that's where I really
we're getting
start paying
there. There's
attention.
already some of that out there right now with Sling TV, where you can do the regional Fox, if you want to, and some others. There's still blackouts, though. You still have to, like, Comcast Sportsnet is all that carries the Portland Trailblazer,
which is
in our
the
market.
most frustrating thing. And that's half the reason I still have it.
I know. For me, that's the reason I kept it for so long. And then I realized, you know what? I'm just going to stream it, Reddit. But I mean, we should wrap this up with the fact of the matter is that streaming TV has come a long way. Most people don't know how advanced it is and how much you can keep your TV watching experience as you know it now without having to deal with your crappy cable company all the time, unless they happen to be also your internet service provider. But on digitaltrends.com, just search Digital Trends Cord Cutting or Cord Cutting 101. We have a long series of articles that guide you through all the different steps, stuff that you need to check with, all the different packages that are available from everyone. some examples of like some bundles that you can put together yourself so that you make sure you get all the stuff you want. And also, people forget there's free TV flowing all around you right now. All you need is an antenna, and you can fold that into your streaming service so that it's very much like what you're used to having now. You can still have your local news and your Netflix and your HBO, and all get it through one little Roku box or Fire TV or whatever you want. Yeah. Xbox really popular. I know a lot of people, they don't bother with the separate streaming stuff. They just have their Xbox or PlayStation and do it through there.
Yeah, there's multiple comments about PlayStation View, and we do need to get to the other topics, but just after you end up paying all the different subscriptions for PlayStation View, additional channels and movies, then it ends up being more than a cable TV and internet bundle.
It can, or it'll be the same amount. Or it'll be the same amount, yeah.
But as you said, a lot of guides there at digitaltrends.com, so go there and check all those out. It's always an interesting discussion, so let us know what you think about that and where you think it's going to go and what's going to be the difference for you. All right, so the other topics that we do need to get to, we're going to future tech here right now, but it's here now. I posted something on Twitter saying we are pretty much living in the prequel to a Black Mirror episode right now. This is our life. And it's in particular in India with what they're doing with AI and how they're trying to predict crime. It's Minority Report is what we're looking at. And it's really fascinating that they're testing this out here. They've actually tested some of it out in New York as well. It's a company called Cortica, Israeli company, and it partnered with a group in India to get access to the data from closed caption televisions. So the closed caption television cameras are in public areas. They have access to that data, and they're using that, combined with their AI, to start analyzing not just facial recognition, but behaviors, trying to predict crime in particular. To see somebody and have their AI see somebody walking down the street and think, okay, that guy's shady. He's about to commit a crime.
Dude. It is, and he's about to steal the tampons from the Minute Mart.
If that's what you think they're going to do. I mean, the AI will tell you what they're going to steal. But yeah, it's a fascinating idea, and they're really rolling this out. One of the things they said, their AI promises to look for behavioral anomalies when they're searching through people. So they have all of this data right now in India.
You say fascinating, I say
terrifying.
That's exactly and that's the thing. It can go either way. So let me present the two different sides really quick, just some examples. So one of the things they said, and I guess they were analyzing cars in New York City, is what they were running a test with it. And they're saying in the future, possibly this could incorporate the AI, it could analyze what's going on around it and determine if a crash is about to happen, that kind of applying it to that kind of thing. That seems a little bit limited.
That sounds like a Trojan horse.
It sounds like it to me, too.
Conjured up by the marketing firm who wanted people to accept this with open arms as opposed to be completely creeped out and terrified by it.
Right, yeah. And what Cortica is saying is they just provide the information, and this is from their quote, what clients do with that information is up to them. The policy decisions are strictly outside of Cortica's area. Like, we're providing you with this. Here's however you use it, evil or good, that's up to you. What do you guys think about this, though? I mean, this is happening. And it's real. They're testing this out right now.
Do we know what the results of these tests are like right now?
As far as which side?
Is it working?
But yeah, is it working?
Did they predict some car crashes?
Well, I don't think they've actually released that as far as whether it has predicted any of that. They're saying this is what it could do. I believe they're training the AI right now.
I mean, the implications are terrifying.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's also one of those things that nowadays people seem to be very, we're standoffish when it comes to our personal information, especially now.
Especially right now, yeah.
And knowing that cameras are out there watching what you do, but not only that, they're also analyzing and trying to predict what you're going to do next.
Yeah. Makes
it a very interesting thing to think about, like how you have to worry about how far they're going to go, what could they pay, like what kind of bundle could you get with
Seriously,
I'd like the bundled personal data and sexual preferences bundle, please.
Imagine what you could really gather on people with that kind of information.
I just read a story today about facial recognition AI in China.
Oh, they picked out the guy in a crowd of 50,000 people. They picked out this criminal from a huge crowd. They arrested him right then and there. So,
with facial recognition software.
So the thing is, like these kinds of systems, like this isn't the only one. This isn't the only company doing this kind of thing. But
no, not at all.
I wrote a story about something similar. It's basically like predictive analysis, and they can send like a cop car to the right part of town where it's most likely that a crime is going to happen. And it just makes like, policing more efficient. But the thing is, like, for all of these systems where we're using these big AI systems and all of this math to try and predict crime, I feel like the big question is like, what's like the cost benefit analysis here? Like, are we willing to trade a world where crime sometimes happens for a world where we are constantly surveilled and they're always looking out and you just can't ever step out of line because you're just going to get cracked down on right away? And for me, the answer is no. Like, I'm not going to make that trade. I would rather live in a world where, occasionally robberies happen, occasionally there are sketchy people, but for the most part, my personal privacy is respected.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I got
Citizen, your behavior is disturbing.
I got nabbed by one of those speed trap cameras.
Oh yeah, so did Greg. He's like, I remember the picture.
We both know, right?
Or
Or red light cameras.
Yeah.
So imagine this scenario. Let's say that they've caught you once, and they're like, this person is probably prone to the occasional speeding or pushing it with the red light.
Right.
What if they decided then, with facial recognition software and these closed circuit cameras everywhere, that they just decided they wanted to keep a closer eye on you all the time?
Yeah.
Now they're just waiting for you to make a mistake, right? They're not using, they're actually following you and just waiting until you make that wrong move, and then they've captured it, and then they can cite you or whatever.
Right.
That's the kind of thing. It's like, this is a person who's at risk for or more likely to do these kind of behaviors, so we're just going to track them until they screw up, and then we've got them. Like, I don't like that at all.
Well, I mean, and there's that thing, but let alone, like marketers. Think of somebody, like, if they're monitoring somebody, like, oh, that guy looks kind of depressed. Let's tell him where you can go buy some booze right now. Or, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can figure out based on that. If you really can analyze, facial recognition and emotions and behaviors, I mean, it's limitless on what you can do.
Yeah.
And it is scary, and it is happening.
It gets into also a kind of an interesting gray zone of saying, well, this certain demographic that either lives here, looks like this, dresses like this, works here, we're going to track them more closely than we would anybody else.
Profiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about with it. And I mean, the entire article's at digitaltrends.com. You can take a look at this. But like Drew said, it's happening with a bunch of different companies. I want to check out this the facial recognition in the crowd from China. I didn't even see about that.
I'm with Drew, though, man. I will say that I think that most people are sketched out by this idea.
Yeah.
And that they will fight tooth and nail to make sure that it doesn't happen. Like, there are certain implementations of this kind of tech that we may not be able to stop because private companies can do what they will within the confines of their own buildings or structures or whatever. So we may be staring down the face of a society where we are being watched more than we'd like to, and we don't have a choice. But when it comes to crime, law enforcement, that kind of thing, I think that we're still going to have a say, and it's really up to us to push back against this kind of thing. Watch out for sponsored legislation that makes it illegal to do this. I mean, look. What did you just say? We're just providing the data. What you choose to do with it is up to somebody else.
Yeah.
What if exactly?
Such
What
a
if
cop-out.
Zuckerberg had shown up in front of Congress and said, "Hey, we just provided the data. Like, it's up to Cambridge Analytica what they do with it."
Yeah.
That's a cop-out. Like, but the fact of the matter is that we just kind of zip through those terms and conditions and just press OK because we want to show our cat videos. And what we don't realize is that in the rush to just use this service, we don't understand how that service is being used behind our backs. And it's time to start paying attention and being a lot more. And also the other side of that argument is they need to be more proactive about telling us what they're going to use that. And it needs to be simple because nobody reads those terms and conditions. It needs to be a really simple presentation of, if you decide to use this service, you're agreeing to let us do these things. And give us an opportunity to disable those or be upfront. Create a paywall. Say, if you don't want us to track your movements or use your data, then you have to pay us $10.
And that's totally fair. I
don't like that, by the way.
Okay, so that's the
they could do that.
That's the difference between there's a big difference between what Facebook was doing and data collection online from all these apps and what's going on with these predictive, facial recognition, whatever surveillance companies. And we are signing some sort of terms of agreement.
True. Yeah.
True.
Like, for this stuff that's being implemented in public and they're looking through CCTVs from cameras that are
didn't
all over
sign-
the place.
yeah.
Nobody signed
Yeah.
anything. This is like a direct violation of your privacy, just under the guise of, hey, we're making the world more safe.
Right.
That's
You're
a
out in the public,
better
so
point.
it's
Totally
your
solid
fault.
point,
Like I can
yeah.
take a picture if
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah, that is completely different. Vandia on Twitch just said your stance is being recorded, Caleb. So
Yeah.
it is known.
You know,
Caleb has
that's
You're
just
being
been-
marked as a
You have been
deviant
profiled as a problem.
revolutionary.
And we know that they're collecting data on journalists and social media influencers
Right,
now.
yeah.
I kind of wonder if I'm on that list.
Yeah,
I know
just want to
Drew's
know if you
on
have an
it.
account. No, yeah, Drew definitely.
I
would
put
be.
him on the
yeah.
list.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right,
Nice career aspirations there.
we're starting to run low on time, so I just want to get to two more things really quick, and then or one more thing, and then Drew's going to talk about blockchain and what we have coming up with that. But this is something pretty cool, I think, going into the future tech that I think is something that would improve our lives. Talking about augmented reality. You know, I mean, we've all, at least for me, I've been really excited about it. I've been wanting this to happen. Google Glass obviously did not work, but we have a lot of companies that have been working on it, and Leap Motion is one of the ones, or it's Magic Leap, and Leap Motion is their goggles that are coming out, and they're talking about virtual wearables. So this new set that's going to be coming out, I believe, next year for developers, or later this year. You can sign up right now for developers. It's showcasing augmented reality that's actually pretty amazing and useful. So I'm going to describe the video. We've got a couple of the videos to show if you're watching live. And again, this link's at digitaltrends.com. But you don't have to wear a glove. You don't have to wear anything. You just put on these goggles, and it shows somebody holding out a virtual cube, like a digital cube, and twisting it around and shaping it and moving it like it's an actual object. The other thing is one of the other videos shows on this guy's hand where it maps out basically kind of like a bone structure for the hand, where you can see how that would look. And the final one that shows this, and again, this is showcasing where this stuff can go, is these tabs that show up on a guy's hand, obviously virtual tabs, that you're wearing these goggles on, and you can use those to control different things. You can open it, you can write notes on it. It's a pretty amazing thing, all virtual, all completely virtual, that you see through these glasses. I think that has the potential for all kinds of a fun thing.
Was that like a real video of it actually being used, or was that like a demonstration where they had animated all that stuff in after the fact?
They say that it's a real video of it being used.
Because if that was a real video, that was dope. Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god, that is that, like, you see that stuff in like Minority Report. Honestly,
Right.
that's
and going back
what
to
that was.
Well, the guy's name is Kichi Matsuda, and he's the creative director and VP of design at Leap Motion. So he's claiming this is stuff that
I mean,
they've been
I guess
doing.
Yeah. Leap has been like teasing this for quite some
Right.
some
Well,
time
and they've
now.
been showing us incremental movements toward that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I think, so, yeah, I have confidence that this is a real technology.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's funny, you said AR again, and I just sort of groaned. Like,
You hate that term, don't you?
oh, I'm so tired of VR and AR. But, like, then I see the video, and I go, oh, my God.
And then you see where
you
it
can
could
do
actually-
so much
Yes.
cool stuff with that.
We might actually be to that point where we're finally getting it. You know, and that's something. If you hear the sirens in the background, that's Minority Report coming to get us. So
Yeah.
Pre-crime. They know
yeah,
that we're
pre-crime.
gonna-
They know Caleb's up to
We've got
something.
10
I'm,
minutes.
I'm gonna be speeding down the road in about
Right.
3 days, and they're just gonna come get me now.
Yep, they'll know. They'll know. Well, you can read more about that at digitaltrends.com. I think it's pretty fascinating. There's a lot to go dig into once you go with that. Finally, let's talk about blockchain. So, Drew, next week,
Yes.
you've got a bunch coming out here at Digital Trends about this.
So yeah, next week you guys should definitely check out Digital Trends, because we are putting together an entire series of articles that are all about the blockchain. So you've probably heard about the blockchain before, because it is like ridiculously hyped up right now. You guys have probably heard a lot
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Everywhere.
and just to give you an idea of how hyped up it is, there's this story that I came across back in October of last year. There's this company called Online PLC. They changed their name to Online Blockchain PLC, and their stock went up like almost 400% overnight.
Wow.
They didn't change anything. They didn't change their business model. They didn't hire any new executives. They didn't, go public.
changed their
They
name.
just put blockchain in their name, and then all of a sudden investors just were dumping truckloads
all
of money
over
on
it.
it. They made
Weird.
more money overnight in like 12 hours than they had made in the previous 2 years combined.
This is blockchain with benefits right
So-
here that you're watching.
That's right. DigitalTrendsBlockchain.com. In other news, just made $5 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super hyped up, but I feel like the problem with all of this hype is that it kind of makes it feel like it's like a passing fad, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not a big deal. But the fact of the matter is, it is huge. Like the hype is completely and totally warranted. Blockchain is going to change the world, but it's tricky. It's kind of like the .com era, like
Yeah.
when the web was born. It took a while.
Yeah, like, took a while for it to take off.
So right now we're very much in the like .com era of blockchain. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are developing apps and platforms and all of these things. And they might not be the ones that actually do change the world in the future. But that's what we're diving into with this series. Is we've kind of honed in on a couple really cool projects that are going on, a couple really cool applications, people that are using blockchain for voting, for change the way advertising works on the internet and like basically make it less spammy. Or there's actually one about how one country is using blockchain as like the backbone of its government completely.
Wow, that's really banking on it. Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy, and we're trying to break it down in the most simple terms possible so everybody can kind of understand it, because it is a very...
I was going to ask you, do you start by explaining what the hell blockchain is in a way that people can understand? Because that's hard.
It is hard. We have a video that I think we're going to put on every article, and it's a really solid explainer of what it is. And if you don't know, I mean, I'll try and explain it right now. It's basically, blockchain is, as a concept, it's like a continually growing list of records that isn't held by any one person. It's held by a whole group of people, and everybody has an updated copy of that ledger, that list of records all the time. Like when anybody makes changes to it, everybody gets those changes. Everybody has the most up-to-date copy of the ledger. So it's very hard for one person in this distributed network to change it, because then their records don't match everybody else's. So it's really hard to like tamper with it.
So it's like an authenticity, like digital signature kind of thing, where it basically proves that this thing is legit. Or
instead of having one institution. So let's use the example of Bitcoin, which is the blockchain application that everybody knows about. So instead of having a bank, like a central authority, basically verify that you have this many funds in your account when you use your debit card, and they verify that stuff's been debited. Instead of it's just this one institution which can be hacked, which can make mistakes, which has all of these problems, it's distributed amongst the entire network of Bitcoin. And all of those nodes in the network are validating each transaction, making sure that it's legit. So, as it goes on, it's very, very hard to corrupt data. It's very hard to make changes to it. And it's so you don't have to trust any one organization. You can just trust in like the blockchain, and that's
In blockchain we trust.
Right.
That'll be written on Bitcoins, actually.
Physical
trust in the blockchain, it knows all.
Well, and we've got all these articles coming out next week, correct?
Yes.
So depending on when you're listening, that's April 16th or 15th when these will start rolling out. So 16th. So check on all those. And we do have a special edition of Trends with Benefits next week, where we're going to go even further in depth with blockchain, explain it, talk about some of these articles, talk about where it's all going, and that'll be on Tuesday. We'll be broadcasting that, so make sure to tune in for that. And thanks everybody for tuning in today too on all these different platforms. Sorry if I missed some of your comments. I'll try to make sure that we get to all of those. And again, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, wherever you get podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify if you have that, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Definitely tune in to Trends with Benefits and all of our other shows here at Digital Trends. And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode.
All right, Caleb, question.
Yeah.